Are you curious about what high season in Croatia's most wanted spots looks like and how much it can cost? In this video, I'll be showcasing what sailing in Croatia's Dalmatia region during peak season is like. I'll outline the 10-day itinerary we followed. Yes, 10-day has several advantages over week or two charters. I'll explain later. I'll also introduce some of the towns and bays we visited. As always, I'll cover the cost aspect of chartering and sailing a catamaran, which will be quite different compared to the previous videos on my channel. I'll try to answer how do you visit the most popular nautical destinations during the height of the season, and I'll walk you through what a skipper's day looks like, what skills you need, and the legal aspects including contracts and insurance. Where, when, and the boat. The customer who hired me for their skipper already taking care of the boat charter, the paperwork and insurance. We also sorted out the skipper's contract. As a reference for choosing me, they also found my YouTube channel. So if anyone else needs a skipper, feel free to reach out. Trogir was chosen as a starting point, one of my favorite towns, as you might see from my other videos. Customers secured a 10-day rental from Wednesday to Saturday, which is almost impossible during the high season. Compliments to the charter company. The boat was 2015 Lagoon 450F catamaran, known for its spaciousness and flybridge, a real treat for the skipper as it provides a separate working space from the rest of the deck. The Yanmar engines were impressively fuel efficient. I was pleasantly surprised by the low fuel consumption. With its two engines, the catamaran is also much easier to maneuver compared to a traditional monohull. Our catamaran wasn't equipped with a generator, air conditioning or water maker, but the water tanks hold 700 liters, and with careful use we managed with just one refill in 10 days, as finding water in Croatia without paying an expensive mooring fee is nearly impossible. Itinerary and locations. Day 1. Trogir Šešula Bay on Šolta. While taking over the boat and loading all the gear, we were hit by a storm to remind us to be vigilant all the time. Before departure, we continued a safety briefing learning how to send a mayday call, where the fire extinguishers are located, and how to put on life vests. Around 4 p.m., we set sail for nearby Šolta and after 1.5 hours reached Šešula Bay. By reserving a table at the Šešula Konoba, we also secured a mooring buoy, and due to the crowd we had to tie the stern to the shore.
Klele je ena konoba, te so imeli že vse polhan, niso mogli rezervirati. No, pa taka gužva klele, kle pa ta druga konoba, ti so pa še imeli kaj frej.
After swimming in nearly private pool, we wrapped up the evening with an excellent fish dinner at the Konoba. Day 2, Šolta, Pribinja Bay on Hvar. We set off around 10 a.m., heading towards Hvar, possibly Starigrad, with the exact destination determined on the go depending on available Konoba reservations. We stopped by in my favorite bay, Stiniva on Hvar, for a docking practice on the pier's inner side. After an hour of swimming and coffee, we sailed a bit back to our final destination of the day, the buoy in front of the Konoba in Pribinja Bay. This time we were a bit more secluded with fewer boats, and the fish dinner at Ringo Tavern was exceptionally delicious. Day 3, Hvar, Ždrilica Passage, Paklini Islands. Short sail, but we had to be at the Ždrilica Passage by noon due to our reservation at the 3 Grede Konoba, which is open only until 6 p.m. This is likely the most visited bay in Croatia and the boat traffic is intense. Fortunately, there was almost no wind, as catching a buoy with 45 feet catamaran close to others could be risky in such conditions. Maneuvering a catamaran, however, is quite manageable. This time in Konoba we swapped fish for grilled meat and the rest of the afternoon spent enjoying water activities, although only between neighboring vessels. Day 4. Visit the Hvar town and anchoring in Taršče Bay. The plan was to visit Hvar town, but it was so crowded that you could barely see the pier beyond the ferry dock. The buoys opposite the main pier were all taken, nearby anchorage also. The crew visited the town by dinghy, while I stayed on catamaran. The town was crowded and very hot, given the early afternoon heat. We continued to the southern side of Paklini Islands, where we found a suitable spot to anchor and tie the stern to the shore in Taršče Bay. The bay is shallow enough that our 50 meters of chain provided a secure anchorage, even if the wind would change direction during the night. A very pleasant and uncrowded bay with plenty of space for privacy, for sure to visit again in future. Day 5. To Komiža, humidity and dolphins. Morning dew left the boat wet as it had rained heavily. Calm air and humidity brought the flat seas, giving me the feeling we might see dolphins that day. After an hour of sailing, we indeed spotted a group of 6 dolphins, which we could observe up close for a few minutes. After passing the steep coast on this northern side, we docked in Komiža around 2 p.m. and soon after our arrival, dock filled up completely. By evening, even all the buoys in the bay were taken. Komiža is a beautiful town with hidden alleys and real character, slightly spoiled by a big number of visitors. Day 6. Blue Cave and this southern side. We left early for Biševo and within 1 hour we already managed to snag the only free buoy in Mezoporat Bay near the Blue Cave. Given the crowd, we had to moor very carefully. The bay has organized boat transfers to the cave, but we have to wait for an hour. With sunlight from the right angle, the cave's light display was magical, though the €18 fee is steep.
Okay guys, so I will first tell the story. Znači, zbilja on je prirodno osim ulazaka koji smo mi Daj, ulazi da ljudi voli posjećivaški. Znači sve u prirodno osim ulaza tamo onoga, a kako su oni otkrili špilju, evo tu.
After leisurely sail along with southern side, we anchored and tied the stern to the shore in Rukavac Bay, ending the day with a dinner in the Teplush beach, Konoba. Day 7. Wind, waves, sails and a journey to Ščedro. The day started with strong winds, gusts over 20 knots and waves over 1.5 meters, which tossed the catamaran around quite a bit, perhaps even more than a monohull of the same land. With the right wind, we tested the sails and the second reef was perfect for an hour. With the sun's intensity, the wind shifted and soon died down completely, so we continued by engine. After 4 hours, we reached Ščedro, where we had to pay for the buoy despite prior arrangements with Konoba owner. The mooring staff were not the friendliest and their mooring skills were questionable. Due to the strong evening breeze, we had to adjust the boat's mooring as we were drifting too close to a neighboring vessel. Not a great experience for a paid mooring. Day 8. Navigating to Stari Grad. This day was the longest sail of the 10 days. Sailing on a catamaran is comfortable and the time passes quickly with on-board activities. The southern coast of Hvar is picturesque and crossing the passage between Hvar town and the Paklini Islands is like navigating in a Venice laguna with intense boat traffic requiring extra attention to avoid collisions. After a quick tour of Stari Grad from the sea, we decided to anchor and tie the stern in Paklina Bay, less than a mile from town and accessible by dinghy. The town is charming, a bit aside from the tourist hustle, and therefore quite peaceful. Ninth day, Stari Grad, Mala Maslinica Bay, Šolta with the sunken ship. From the calm bay in the front of Stari Grad, through the busy split gates between Šolta and Brač, our journey took us to the northern side of Šolta, where we once again took advantage of summer maestral to air up the sails. We ended our voyage in Mala Maslinica Bay. The anchoring maneuver and securing the stern line to the shore was quite thrilling this time, giving the heavy crowding and strong crosswind requiring a quick execution.
So, we moored cat in very narrow space. Here is the first neighbor. The other neighbor there was on anchor and their children, of course, they played right on the spot where we laid the anchor down. There is another one, and there was also a boat which didn't know where it would go. And here is one neighbor which told us that we cannot put our line across his line because his line will tear. So
In the afternoon, we swam to a nearby sunken ship and in the evening we visited nearby Konoba, where we previously reserved table and the buoy, but it turned out that the owner thought that 9 people sleep on a 15-foot boat, so the buoy was not suitable because it was too close to the shore. I wonder why such things so often happen in some countries. Last 10 day. Fuel in Rogač, invasion of the Norman Blue Lagoon and back to Trogir. We set sail for nearby Rogač quite early, hoping to be among the first at the fuel station, but we still had to wait in line for over an hour.
Petrol station in Rogač. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we are 9. And 3 also after us.
After refueling, we head towards the Blue Lagoon near Drvenik Valley Island. In extremely dense and almost unimaginable traffic, with a bit of luck and a skilled maneuver, we managed to drop anchor right in the middle. On the way to Trogir, we encountered several boats trying to gain a few meters advantage by passing too close just to get to the fuel station first. It feels like everyone is in a regatta rather than on holiday. We parked the catamaran at the designated spot, thus ending our journey. How to manage crowded places? One way is to approach with the main boat, launch the dinghy, and some people can go ashore while others stay on the boat and then you switch. For example, as the skipper, I stayed on a boat while the crew went to visit Hvar town, as I had already seen it several times. You prepare the dinghy in advance, approach the place when you can board it safely. This method is suitable for places where you just want to visit and are not the final destination of the day. Another way to enter tight spaces is to handle the boat really well, but you will need at least one capable crew member. So, if none of them is well versed, this is very hard to do single-handed. You can anchor single-handed, but without help is not manageable in tight or crowded places. And let's not forget that you need to be early everywhere, otherwise there won't be any space, not even a tight one. The simplest way would be to avoid these places altogether or go there when others aren't, meaning, of course, outside the season. The skipper's day. The first day is a bit more hectic as the skipper is responsible for the technical handover of the boat, checking the seaworthiness, provisioning such as water, fuel, and checking basic food and water supplies, as well as mandatory weather checks. A safety briefing with the crew, fire, mayday, etc. must be conducted. The crew's ability to assist in sailing must be assessed, and the sailing plan and division of the tasks for sailing must be adjusted accordingly. The following days are usually similar, starting the evening before with a briefing on when and where we will sail, weather forecast, and in the morning preparing the boat for sailing, checking the weather, inspecting the boat engines, water, batteries, etc. Then preparing for the departure maneuver, sailing and also with sails if the crew is skilled enough to help, and in the end of the voyage, preparing for docking or anchoring maneuver, which again depends on the level of the crew's ability to assist. The skipper signs a contract with the boat's charterer defining the obligations of both parties and setting the rules of the game in advance. The charterer arranges the insurance of the boat with the company that owns the boat. Charter boats are usually insured with some deductible fee. The skipper can optionally have insurance for potential damage to third parties, similar to comprehensive coverage. Such insurance for the skipper costs about €100 per boat rental and can also be included in the skipper's contract. As for licenses for Croatia and some other countries, you need a boat skipper certificate and a VHF station license. The bigger challenge is experience, as these licenses alone don't provide even basic experience. In short, you need experience, which is never enough. How do you gain it? How did you gain yours? Please comment. Cost aspect. This time I wasn't particularly involved in the financial part, as I only acted as a skipper. However, we can still summarize. Catamaran rental during peak season costs about €8,000 for 10 days. Insurance premium €300. Fuel only €220. Mooring in Komija €175. Parking 3 cars for 10 days €300. Total around 9,000, or about 1,125 per person if there are 8 persons. The amount does not include food and drinks nor visits to Konobas, which each time cost around €500, and the skipper's fee needed to be added too. So you can calculate it. It's not that cheap anymore, but this is all based on your personal preferences and wishes. Conclusion. Is 10 days a good option? In my opinion, it's excellent. 14 days can already feel a bit long, but you still gain a departure when there is no rush in the marina, and you also gain an entire day between Friday and Saturday. How about the crowd during the season? It can be extreme in certain places, so if you want to visit the most popular spots, be aware that you need to arrive early, and if there's wind, maneuvering will be very difficult, with most collisions happening under these conditions. Of course, there are also many equally beautiful places, bays, etc., where there's less crowds. You just need to find them. What about the prices? Croatia is sadly synonymous with a very expensive nautical destination. For example, a fish dinner is never cheap, but in Konobas it can be pricey, easily over €500 for 5 adults and 4 children. Mooring in ports for the catamaran with water and electricity for the night costs between €150 and €200. Buoys can cost between €60 and €160 depending on the location. And marinas, easily over €300 per night. Prices in stores on the islands are also steep. For example, 1.5 liters of regular water in store in Komija costs €2.5, or 4 times as much as on mainland. So, in the season, yes or no? Yes, but with careful consideration of where to go and what to take with you. If you know where, Croatia can always be less crowded and not too expensive, but if you go to the main spots, Croatia is one of the most expensive and most crowded nautical destinations. The decision is yours. I already made mine. Thank you for watching this video to the end. And please check my other videos as well. And you can also subscribe if you want. See you in next videos.